Hello there and welcome to this Python programming video, and in this one we're going to look at sequence. And looking at sequence selection and iteration, they are our three constructs that we use in all programming languages really. And in this one we're going to look at how sequence can be done, and we're going to do a few examples. So let's get over to the code. I've just created a quick program here and it's called sequence. So my project name is sequence. I'm using Visual Studio. You can use whichever Python IDE that you like, and I'm just going to create this project. So thinking about sequence, it works in order, one after another, and it follows one thing after the next. So here we are. Let's just write in the title here. So sequence, okay? Always remember order, okay? One thing after another. So I'm going to make a variable. So here's my number1 variable, right? Num1. And I'm going to say input, enter your first number, okay? Now, if I'm expecting a number to come back, if I use an input, you might not have seen these before, it'll pop up on my console and it'll say enter your first number, and it expects the user to enter in a number so we can store it in the num1 variable. Now, if we're entering a number in, we need to make sure that we specify that the thing coming back from this is going to be an integer. So turn whatever comes back, it will return as a string of text, and we need to turn it into a number. Okay, otherwise we'll be working with strings, and that's not what we want to do when working with numbers. I'll make another one, I'll call it num2, and I'll say the same thing again. I'll go int, input, and then I'll do some speech marks, enter your second number. So basically those two lines of code is asking the user to enter two numbers and store them in variables. And then I'll say the result variable is given the value of num1 plus num2. And after I've done that, I can say print your result is, and then I could add this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say str result. So let's have a look at what this does. So hopefully with me so far that I've made two variables and I've asked the user to enter in two pieces of information, and I've turned them into integers. I've then added the first number with the second number and stored the result of that inside the result variable. And then on line number 10, we print out your result is plus str result. Now what I've done is I've turned it back into a string so that I can concatenate it, which just means merge it together with this string on the left hand side. Your result is. And then what I'll do is I'll just run this just to show you exactly what that does. Here we are, your first number, so let's do 10 plus 12. Your result is 22. That's, okay. Yep. So far so good. That works, no problem. We might even do a little bit more and just, make this a little bit more interesting and say, okay, print out result greater than 100 equals, and I'll space there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, is your result greater than 100? And I'll say str result. And some of the things that we did in our previous videos, we used some of these operators, relational operators, and I'll put result greater than 100. So think about the logic here. Is the result, which is the two things I've just added, is that greater than 100? And if that is true, then it will return the string true, and it'll say result greater than 100 equals true. But if not, it'll return false. Okay? So let's have a look at that, see if that actually works. And I'll do your first number is, let's do 20 plus 30. So that's 50. And it says result greater than 100, false. Because 50 is not greater than 100. So let's try again then. Let's do 90 plus 50. There you go. Your result is 140. Result greater than 100 equals true. Okay. Now what you've got here is, if I just show you this code, okay, all of this code runs in sequence in a procedural fashion. So basically from line number 5 all the way to line number 12, it will complete line number 5 first. Then it'll move, once it's completed, it'll move on to line number 6. Then it'll go on to line number 8. Then it'll complete line number 10 and output that to the screen. And then it'll output line number 12. Nowhere in this code do we jump around. We don't complete line number 5 and then jump to line number 10, for example. It runs in sequence. And that is what sequence is all about. It's all about running in order, one line after another.